Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this afternoon. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. I'd like to give a family of 100 Yards of Football kudos this evening before we bring up our wonderful guests. Thank you to Mr. Logan Landers, our producer, for making it happen today. To Mr. Jeremiah Long, thank you. To Mr. Bobby Butler, Atlanta Falcons, Florida State finest, thank you. Running New York, thank you. So, if you like, Flint had a lot of love come from Southern University down there in Baton Rouge, the 225. 2 hours ago, we had the great Roger Kadar. Greatness when you talk about Southern University baseball. But today, I got a gentleman that played on the 1958 Southern University baseball team, the first African-American school to win a national title at any level. What's so great about that team is that the coach, Bob Lee, was from my hometown, and you know how I love it here at 100 Yards Football, the 901 Memphis, Tennessee. But this gentleman was the starting shortstop, and he's coming to us live out in Indianapolis, Indiana today. So I want the audience out there that's been following 100 Yards Football, and your people who've been coming over there stealing, please give flowers to the legend, Mr. Alvin Woods, today here on 100 Yards Football. Mr. Woods, thank you. God bless, and how you doing today?
Fine, sir. How you doing?
Okay, Mr. Woods, we're going to start this very shortly and very nice. Where was you born? What got you started in playing baseball? Because I heard you was a great dual athlete. And where did all this start in your childhood?
You know, my family's from Kentucky, Akron, Kentucky. That's a small town about 50 miles down the river from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
I came to, first of all, my mother and father were born when they were married when they was 14 and 15 years of age. I was born when my mother was 15.
Yes, sir.
And after my mother finished after I was born, my mother went back to high school and graduated from Lincoln Institute.
Yes, sir.
My father went back out in the country in the small towns and finished high school and went in the war in 41.
Yes,
1941, my grandmother and myself moved to Anderson, Indiana.
Yes, sir.
And when I got to Anderson, my grandfather had 5 of his daughters were living in Anderson. My great-grandfather had already been here and passed away.
Yes,
so
sir.
I had a lot of relatives here. I had what I would call a unusual, from where I started at, had an unusual life. I went to elementary school had 10 elementary schools. You had 5 junior highs, and one high school had 2,700 students. But you had a lot of people, as far as athletics concerned, that been in the Army, and they got out of the Army, and some of these guys been in the Negro League. Well, they was pushing baseball. Some of them were only in their early 20s, and I started following the baseball and got involved, and I had some excellent coaches in high school.
Now, in high school, you told me a story. Now, I want everybody to hear this. This is why we love this at 100 Yards Football, and that's why I love history. Now, you played for Anderson High School, correct?
That's correct.
In the state championship game, listen to what I'm saying, people out there, 1955, who did y'all beat?
We played against Oscar Robinson in the.
Can you say that one more time?
We played against Oscar Robinson.
Okay.
In 1955 in the regional tournament. Indiana's tournament is set up where you have your sectional, regional, semifinals, and finals. We had to go through Indianapolis region. We got beat by Oscar's team in the finals. That's the last basketball game I played was against Oscar Robinson. We got beat.
Okay, so from there, you really didn't go into college playing baseball. You went into the military, correct?
I went in the Army after high school, 1955, and I was in the Army 3 years. But I was my first year of playing any kind of sports in the Army was was football. And I'm a high school kid. playing against, had some guys, had a lot of guys in the conference we come up with who went to Lamar Lundy, or the great Fearsome Forson.
Yes, sir.
He was in the same league we was in high school. But anyway, in the Army, you had guys who played college football, and some of them had been to camp with some of the professional football teams. And of course, when baseball season come around, I go out and got several minor league ball players out there. So I've been playing against guys who from Purdue University, Indiana University, advanced guys who getting drafted and things. So I felt pretty comfortable with them.
Okay, so this is a story that I love that you told me last week when we talked. Now, your journey to Southern University. Tell the audience, how did you get to Southern University and what did you do to play for the great A.W. Mumford?
I've been in Germany 26 months. I played 2 football seasons, 2 baseball seasons, and 2 boxing seasons in Germany. And I was getting ready to come home. I wrote Mr. Mumford a longhand letter. And what motivated me to write that letter, I'd played against a guy who was playing with the London Rockets. They was in the league, and we played them in Frankfurt, Germany. And he had on the program, and he had gone to either Grambling or I think it was Southern University. His name was Meshach. I just sat down and wrote a longhand letter, and I got back home about another month or two. And I got back home, got off that boat after 10 days and flew into Illinois to be discharged. Mr. Mumford sent me a long letter and told me I had a scholarship at Southern University. I knew people who had gone to Southern, but I didn't know them in that respect. And I found that there you had people from all over the South. I'm talking about guys who at that time couldn't get into LSU or Mississippi State or Florida State. You had guys stand on top of each other, guys, good athletes. And I joined them for a while.
So
in football.
So when you got down there on campus, you was playing football, and then let me get this correct. You went out for the baseball team, right? Is that correct?
After football season and basketball season's over, like January, they started practicing a little bit in the gym and things like that. And they had a team. They'd had a decent team over the years, and I don't think they'd won the championship in anything at that point. But went out. They had guys that had been played a year, maybe a couple of years before, but I was a freshman at that time. And when we put the team on the field, we started to win and started to do pretty good. We played Grambling. They was one of the tough teams. Wiley out there in Texas, they had a good team. In fact, we had to beat them in order to be certified to go to the NAIA tournament.
Okay, now let's talk about the team. Your great victory that year, defeating Omaha 4-1. But I'm gonna start the coach, Bob Lee from the 901, Memphis, Tennessee. Then Lou Brock.
Yeah.
Then Herman Rhodes. Then the outstanding pitcher, Paul Lewis.
Yeah, Paul.
Tell us about that year. Tell us about all them great players you played with, and the manager, especially Mr. Lee.
Well, I recognize coaching. I'd been well coached in high school. My coach had played pro basketball and also played pro baseball. So, and in the Army, I had guys that had been involved in pro ball. So I recognized good coaching. Bob Lee and Emory Hines knew what they were doing. I don't think they had a chance to display their ability. I think the teams we played against, we talking about some Southern Illinois and some of these schools were pretty well known in baseball particularly. I don't think they were quite ready for it. We had, they say speed kills.
Yes, sir.
And we had plenty of that. Even the guys who couldn't walk fast could run.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't know. I had never met Brock until I knew who he was until baseball season. I think he had played. He was a sophomore when I was a freshman. He had played his freshman year. I don't think he done a whole lot, but he was playing. And we just got it. We started playing. I batted behind him most of the time, and we done very well. We went to the national tournament, and I don't think the they had some well-coached teams and some teams that had been to Florida in the summer, in the wintertime, and done very well in the fall league and the things like that. And we didn't have any problem with them, you know.
But it was told to me you played shortstop and your skill set was at another level, like a Ozzie Smith, a Gary Templeton, a Carl Ripken. They said that you was the glue of the team, and your skill in throwing that ball out of the hole was something special.
I thought I'd been a decent shortstop. I don't think I was in the league with the boys, even though I've seen Ozzie Smith and them guys play. I've been around a lot of guys who've been in minor league ball. I'm talking these guys were sharp. And I felt that I could play at Southern. I played the outfield I played the outfield in Army because these guys had been in pro ball. But I could go get the ball, so I done very well. But I think Brock had unusual speed and developed into a good hitter. Herman Rose, he was a third baseman. They made him a first baseman, and had McGriff. This guy McGriff, he coached his son. His son and his nephew played Major League Baseball. So, you know, he was a heck of a mentor to his own children. Had a guy named Henry Triplett, who was assistant superintendent of schools in Baton Rouge. He's retired now. He played third base, and some of the other guys.
Paul Lewis.
Of course, Carl Lewis and he played third base and pitched. And Wiley McMillan, and of course, Brock played right field. Had a guy named Leotis Green, who eventually signed and went all the way up to the top of the chain in Baltimore organization. So we had guys who could do some things, you know, which it was kind of unusual to see the coaching compared with other guys. That we're well managed at that point.
Now I'm gonna get something started here today. And it's no disrespect, but it was something you told me that A.W. Mumford was a tremendous better coach than Eddie Robinson. You said that he was just special coaching football from that standpoint.
What I meant at that point, Mr. Eddie Robinson done a tremendous different coaches. Eddie Robinson had running backs weigh 250 pounds. I knew Jamie Caleb with the Cleveland Browns. He and I were friends in the Army and played against him baseball and football, so I knew him well. Spent a lot of time with him. In fact, I was in a tournament to come back to the United States. He spent a week with me up in my place in Germany. So I knew, but Mr. Mumford, he came with some other linemen ups. We talked about taking the fullback at weight 250, made him the halfback, and the running back at 150 or bigger than that. He blocked for him. So a lot of little moderation he made that some of the other schools wasn't making, and certainly Grambling wasn't making. But Eddie Robinson, I don't think you can. He developed some tremendous athletes, and also probably done some able to deal with the kids and the psychological issues you had playing as well as breaking into pro ball. I think he done a tremendous job there. Mr. Mumford was a tremendous person. You knew where you stood with him at all times.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, playing at that time, Southern was just at another level, not only from a baseball standpoint, football standpoint. Tell me three things at that time, what made Southern so special? Three things, both of their programs, baseball and football. Well,
first of all, I said what was kind of unusual. When I got to Southern, they had guys that had been there for 2 and 3 years and never put a game uniform on. They had that kind of talent. And I started playing quite a bit my freshman year, and played a little my sophomore year. And then that was over with. They had the guys who didn't actually play in a game, and they were good athletes until they were juniors and seniors. That was because you couldn't go anywhere else. You had to either go Grambling, Texas Southern, Wiley, somewhere else. And Alcorn had good football, had good athletes. That was it. The first time I went to Texas Southern, I think we beat them 30-6. They had that tremendous running back. Can't think of his name. He ended up with the Giants. He was with the New York Giants, but it's about 6-8 years. And
to my Homer Jones.
No, and Homer Jones. It wasn't. I guess it could have been this guy, man.
Was it Hewitt Dixon? Hewitt Dixon?
No, it could have been Homer Jones. This is a big guy. This guy weighed about 5, 10, 11, about 230. I mean, he ran the 100 yards and 200-yard dash in the Pelican State relays. He wasn't no guy walking around, man. He could fly.
Yes, sir.
It was
Yes,
Homer Jones probably, yeah.
yes,
But
sir.
that's when you had to play. You had two teams. You play A and B, so you had to play. You had to stay in a certain amount of time. Even the quarterback had to play defense, and that
Yes,
was the tremendous thing. Had to tackle Homer Jones come around that corner, man. The
Yes,
left
sir.
halfback had to play defensive halfback.
Yeah. Dipped in that. Yes, did you get that, Mr. Woods?
No, sir, I didn't. What did you say, sir?
Okay, you was after your career at Southern University, you went to Chicago in the workforce, and then you was telling me about your career in boxing when you met all the great boxers. That also you was a great boxer yourself.
No, I could box, but I went to York, Pennsylvania for a year. Then I went to Chicago.
Okay.
We that was a little
Tell us
history
about that journey.
You know, during back when the poverty program was going on, they had all kind of money, didn't know what to do with it. Guy came to me and a guy named Charles East from Pensacola, Florida. He passed away, a tremendous person, done a lot of good things with the children in Chicago. And the guy come in and said, I got $20,000. I don't know what to do. I said, I know what to do. I'm about this ring from Everlast. So we ordered that ring and moved that ring around for a couple, 3 years. We couldn't stay. We finally moved from the boys' club to a gym, but we opened up a gym down the street from another gym in Chicago. That's where Ali trained during the time he was suspended. I could sit at my office window and see Ali going up to the gym. He would go up there and had a guy named Kid Carson work with him. Anyway, by the time I opened that gym down there, Jim Maryland, he ran into Ernie Terrell, and he said, you know, Woods is down there. So he come down, and so we were able to get two top trainers. They got in D.D. Armour, been all over the world training fighters, and Mr. Carson, who had already trained and owned 2 world championships contract. So they come down, and these older men stayed with me till they passed away. But Ernie Terrell was able to set up boxing. The first series of fights we had was with, we had 10 fights with Bob Arum, and then we was on every Saturday, and I was able to move some young guys. But boxing, I didn't mess with it. My job was to run the boys' club and do some other things that probably was just important.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And you said you had the great boxers like Ali, Ernie Terrell, Kip Carson coming through, correct?
Yeah. They Mr. Carson's there every day, and of course Ernie was there every day. But Ali had come down. We had some other guys. Nate Bowler, a great fighter, one of the guys that was uncrowned middleweight champion of the world back in the 30s and 40s. He had a lot of guys who became great champions. He was a better fighter than them, this kind of thing. So we was around a lot of people.
And then the thing that I like most of all that you explained to me that you did back in the day, once you got to Chicago, y'all had a special second chance program where y'all work with a lot of youths in Chicago.
We landed, not by choice, we landed in a position where you had two gang groups of kids decide they're going to be gangbangers and became very famous. And you couldn't get on the radio or on the television unless you're talking about something they was doing. And where my office was located, where Mr. Maryland, he also worked in that project that at that time. We was working with kids now that I guess you call them notorious. They've been locked up 30 years, which
yes,
that's a prediction. But anyway, I think from that from that neighborhoods, there's a guy named Leroy Boyd. We got him in college, and he became an outstanding baseball coach before Mr. Cato.
Yes, sir.
We also had a young man now who's playing with, not playing, he's managing now as assistant manager with the Cleveland team in Cleveland. He's been in Major League Baseball over 20 years as assistant manager. People say he's well overdue. DeMarlo Hale. He played at Southern. but he's been in management with 3 or 4 different major league teams as assistant manager for over 20 years.
Yes, sir.
Also, we had can't think of, one of the twins. He was at Southern University. Him and his brother both. He played Major League Baseball and done very well. He didn't stay long, but he done well. He made the major leagues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When you look at your life and when you look back, your kids, I think you had some children that have been very successful at another level in your family. But when you look back, you're looking at your legacy, and man, the 58 team at Southern, then what you did with the second chance groups in Chicago, what would you say your life is at now, what you've done in life?
Well, our team, we won the championship in 59 and went back to the tournament again and placed third in 60.
Yes, sir.
I think the things in Chicago, I think was very important, not just far more important, but important. It's good after all these years to know that you'll tell somebody the truth to their face. I'll do that.
Yes, sir.
Now,
yes, sir.
I think in some of those communities, people don't do that. You're talking about potential. We had kids that do very well, become very successful in college, very successful on their jobs and things. Everybody's not going to be a great ball player. Some guys can't ball their fists up. So, but it's a lot of things you can do, So, like I say, kind of unusual situation. Mr. Merrill and I, we've known each other since 1959. And when I got Chicago, he'd been in Chicago. I graduated before he did, a year before he did. I got Chicago. He was there. He helped me find an apartment, and we kept rolling,
Yes, sir. Well, like I said, I'd like to say thank you today for coming on here at 100 Yards Football. What would be your final words? Aspirational baseball players, football players, and even people and what they want to do in life, and what could you give them your best advice for their journey?
Well, I think one of the things that you got things going on now that people who are able to deal with the issues, but the communities are being greatly misused and manipulated. I hear people talking about, these people weren't even in the city when these things occurred, and I think that a lot of people made quite a bit of money. I think there's probably people that dealt with some of these issues. If they were looking for employment they wouldn't even get a conversation. But there's people talking about things they don't know about or don't have a feeling for. One of the things some of these guys particularly been locked up 30 years, I wonder if they interview them, and one thing they'll say, Mr. Woods didn't lie to me. He told me the truth.
Yes, sir. Well, today here on 100 Yards of Football, Southern University in the house, royalty. It's an honor. It's a pleasure, Mr. Alvin Woods. I'd like to say thank you for my team here, 100 Yards Football. Many blessings. We'd love for you to come back if you'd like to join us and talk about the great things that happened at Southern during your time playing baseball. If you like the video, please come in and share it. And I'd like to give special thanks once again to our team. Today, to our producer, Mr. Logan Landers, thank you. To Mr. Bobby Butler, thank you. To Mr. Ronnie Keebler, Brooklyn, New York, thank you. To Mr. Mark Bass, a.k.a. Mark Denham, thank you. To Mr. Jim Maryland, coming to us live out of Ruston, Louisiana, thank you. And, of course, to Mr. Alvin Woods, joining us today from Indianapolis, Indiana. In my final words today, it's going to be a baseball classic that's going to come up in the spring of 2024 in Gwinnett, Georgia, which is right outside Atlanta. It's the Ralph Gar Bill Lucas HBCU All-Star Classic. So if you want sponsorship, we got a $25 sponsorship, we got a $50 sponsorship, we got a $75 sponsorship, and we got a $100 sponsorship. If you want to contact the HBCU Boosters, P.O. Box 82, Grambling, Louisiana, 71245. I'm going to repeat that again. HBCU Boosters, P.O. Box 82, Grambling, Louisiana, 71245. The Ralph Gar Bill Lucas HBCU All-Star Classic coming up 2024 in Gwinnett, Georgia. Special thanks again to the gentleman. He just put on this Minnesota Twins hat. himself, Alvin Woods, Southern Finest, the 225. And again, to my producer, Mr. Logan Landers, thank you, man. Y'all enjoy. We are 100 Yards Football. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Yes, sir.